Hi folks, this is Rose from In Rose's Garden, and I recently made a pretty little ring. And when Softflex Wire was requested use magenta as their prompt for their joyful beading. So I made this pretty little ring, posted it, and one of my usual subscribers said, when is the tutorial coming out for that? I didn't make a tutorial for this one, but I did tell her that since I didn't make a tutorial for that, I would do a tutorial for some other rings. So let's turn down, and because I have designed 3 rings using some of the beads from our Bargain Bead Box Violet Glade, and let's get to making those. Now these are really simple rings. This one is going to actually be the easiest, even though the beads make it look like it won't be, because it's just going to be a straight line of beads. Whereas this one I'm going to stagger with if I can get it to do it in the package so that I don't have to take them out and get things mixed up. I'm going to stagger it so that the green is sorted to one side, the iridescent is in the middle, and this other green is sorted to this other side. So, sort of like that. I should be able to get them to do that for me. The next one, this pink one, is going to sort of do the same thing. It's going to go on three rows, 1, 2, 3. The middle one is going to have 2 of the fluorites on either side of it, and then the outer ones will just have 1 fluorite. So let's get started with our first one, which is going to be this one. And I always like to use 20 gauge wire when I'm doing rings. So I've got out this spool of antique brass, and this is what we're going to use. And so we'll just pull a hunk off here. Let's see which one goes to the outer edge here. Looks like it's this one. And I always get 9 to 12 inches. So we're going to go 2 rings around and bring this back onto here so we don't mess it up. We'll take this off, put it up here, and take this kink off the end here. And let's see how much we ended up getting out. I think this is a little over 12 inches. Nope, it's just about exactly 12 inches, so that's good. So now that we've got our wire, we'll run it through the fingers a few times to get it evened out. And then you need a ring mandrel. I've got this beautiful metal one. And depending on the size of ring you want to go up at least 1 size, maybe 2, depending on how much you're going to do with your ring here. So you need to go around at least a few times, and then you're going to get your beads out and you're going to roll them up onto one of these upper ones here. So let's see what we can do here. And you know, I've got some teenies out, and I'm not sure they're going to work on this because I just realized it depends on if they'll go on the wire or not. They may not, because they are very tiny, and this is 20 gauge wire. Oh, they did. Excellent. So then we'll have this. Come on, pink rondelle, go on. Then this silver, the jade. See, this one side's flat, so that's where it's going to go towards the spacer there, and then the other teeny. Except for this one may not want to go on. There we go. So here we are, all spaced out here. And we're going to roll it up so it comes up to one of these upper wires. Just like so. Okay, now we've got that on. The next step is to bring our wire across that's down here. Come on, you get back up there. Bring it up and around our beads and push it like so. Now we're going to do the same with the other side. Up and around. And where's that teeny? Snug it up to that. Okay, there's our two snugs. Now we'll take this off. Now, because we've got this wrapped around, we're pretty much good as far as holding it in place. But we're going to take these around here again. And we're going to wrap around our wires. Now, I could have gone to a smaller ring and I wouldn't have been needing this much wire, but that's all right. Now, if perchance you are close to the end of your wire and can't get it to go around, you can use your pliers. Just like I'm going to do right here. Pull her tight. And bring her up and around. Now I will tell you that you will get a smaller sized ring if you, the more you wrap the rings, around your wires here. I'm going to trim this off because I don't want this going down under your hand and having it try to scratch you. So we're going to trim that right there, and then we'll squish it down right here. Now if you're using a wire that's been colored, you want to be careful because you can rub your color right off your wire. But we can put this back on now. Looks like we've got about a size 8 with this one. And I let this wire twist, so we want to bring the twist up as close to the as close up as we can, so it's not in the base of your hand when the twist happens. Actually, it doesn't feel like it's bad, so that's good. So, like I say, make sure these are tucked in pretty good because they'll if you don't ream them off, they will leave a sharp edge otherwise. There we go. So there is this one. Personally, it doesn't really do much for me, but it's a pretty little ring. So there is number 1. And now we'll go to number 2. Now for ring number 2, we again want to get out our wire. So we'll get out about that 12 inches again. wire over here. So now we have the 12 inches out. And I cut that in a way that I've got that dang little triangular spot there. And on here too. And since I probably won't be able to get that kink out, let's just cut it off. So here's our wire. And again, we need to put it on our wire mandrel a little bit up from how we want it to be and wrap it around a couple of times. No, don't cross the streams like Ghostbusters. Bing. Okay. Now we need to feed our beads on, but our beads are going to go in 3 different places. Now this might be a little tricky because of these iridescent ones. They don't like to go around the turns very well. See, it doesn't want to go. So, since it doesn't want to go, we're going to get out a different piece of wire. We're going to put this one aside for ring number 3 here. We'll get out some different wire for this. This makes it just a teeny bit tricky because what we need to do now is we need to feed the beads on, at least our iridescent one, and we need to convince it then to wrap around after we have the beads on. Now what we need to do is the green, one of the greens first. Come on girls, I don't might care which one, just one of you. Then the iridescent. I must have a little bend right there because it doesn't want to go on. There we go. And then the 3rd green. Now we could have put the 2 greens on separately. I think that they would go on the wrap. But what we want to do now is take these and our wire mandrel, sort of hold them in place. It doesn't really matter if they move around a little bit, especially the greens, because we are going to move the greens. So then we wrap around, and I see I've got a much bigger tail on this side, see? And I really don't want that, but it is what it is. Okay, so which one is, okay, this one goes this way, this one goes this way. Now, dependent on how many wraps you want in the back, I actually like to do 3. I'm not sure we're going to have enough wire here, but we'll see. See if I can get these to run over some. I don't think. Oh, looks like I already have a problem because those green ones don't want to move on the wire. They want to stay right where they're at. So I guess I should have left them out already. So let's untwist our wire. Which I would never normally do because it's going to leave some bends in here. But in order to get that green one and that iridescent one, the 2 green ones and the iridescent where you want it, you're going to have that. And this one is not going to move now. She says she's where she's supposed to be. So since we don't want to break that bead, we are going to leave it alone. Oh, that looks like we may have already chipped it a little bit. Well, make sure that stays towards the bottom. So now we're going to push this up, bring these two out because we do not want them right there in the middle with that one. So in fact, well, they aren't going to come off. Not that one anyway because of the bows in the wire. This one does, but that's all right. Okay, so we're going to put it back on the mandrel. Going to bring these two around. Now this is where we want this green one, so we're going to push her down there and bring this one this way. Now as we come up, we want the other green one right here on the other side. So we'll put it back on. And let her drop to where I want her, right there. Now, I don't really have enough wire to do that, and that's fine. I don't really need it to. So now what I want it to do is, that wire has a bend right, the bow right there. I don't want it to do that, so we'll have to straighten that. But what we want it to do is bring this wire here, over here, and then this one is going to go over here. See how that's going to hold those beads right there where I've got them at? Okay. So let's see if we can get that bow out just a little bit. Though, frankly, it's going to hold that bead right there where I want it, so. And the bow on the other side is worse. So we want to get that where we want it and push it through to the other side. Snug her up pretty close. Now we want this other side to do the same. Try and get some of that bow out. And we want it to snug up on this side. Under we go. Now, as you can see, this wire is trying to twist, so let's get our fingers there to straighten her back out. And the little ones are trying to tuck down. We don't want them to do that too much, so push them up before you tighten. See how they're under there? Push this wire up some. Now, I tend to use my fingernails for all my pushing and pulling. If you aren't a fingernail pusher or don't have fingernails that are strong enough to do that, I would suggest easing it up with one of your pair of pliers. Okay, now that we've got those in place, they are sinking down a little bit, but that's all right. You wrap these side pieces a couple of times, just by going under like so and pulling them up tight. That's trying to move something, so we're going to put it on the mandrel to push it down and keep it, the wires, try and get the wires back to where we want them. See how they and we want to go through over here on making these loops about at least 2 times. 3, 4 would be better. Though I gotta tell you that every wrap you put on here on the sides here, makes it a little bit smaller, and as far as the size is concerned of your ring. So just be aware of that and be careful that you don't, if you're making size specific, I generally don't, because I sell most of my rings and I just let them be whatever they want to be. But if you want to be a size specific, you got to keep checking where you're at, because like I say, this, every time you put a wrap in here, it's going to make your ring smaller. So I am going to put 3 wraps and then push them up with my thumbnail, or if you're not a thumbnail person, don't put them on with your thumbnail. That's fine. Okay, so now we've got this. Now you could cut the wire and tuck it, or I'm going to cut this to about the same size on either side. It's probably not quite, but that's all right. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn 2 spirals. Then I'm going to bring my spirals up and put them right here on the edges. So firstly, we need to get our round nose pliers and make a teeny spiral. Now that spiral is looking a little squared on the one side, so if it does that, you want to cut that little piece off and go back in and start again. There you go. Now it's much more rounded, see? Now we'll take our flat nose pliers and grab that and just spiral it up. So here we have ring number 2, and as you can see, it's now a size 4 when it's finished, where when we started it was way up here at like 7. So that is one of the things you got to be careful of. One of the reasons it's smaller is because, well, as you can see, the green ones are down in the middle some quite a bit yet. I didn't manage to get them up to the top where I wanted them. Now sometimes if you push these down on your ring mandrel, it will stretch it enough to bring them down, but you don't want to break the beads at the same time. So you can see that they're right there on the sitting on the mandrel. So that's one thing you got to be careful of when you're sizing, is when you push it down not to break those beads, because they are down there quite a ways. And anyway, so that's ring number 2. So we have ring 1 and ring 2 here now. And now we're going to take that this piece of wire that we wrapped up earlier for the other one, because it wouldn't let us put our beads down on it, and we're going to start number 3. Number 3 is going to be, now hopefully these will move on here, or we'll have to unwrap the wire like we did on the iridescent one. Okay. Looks like the fluorite may not want to go on here. That one started, but I don't know. So since I do have some more fluorites, we will test some more. And if we can't get the fluorite to go on, we're going to have to adjust our design to put teenies on, which it really amazes me that the teenies will go on and the fluorite might not. Though, of course, the fluorite is gemstone, whereas the teenies are glass. So, you know, strange way of being. But let's get the other fluorite and the other teenies out, and we'll see what we can do. If we can get some fluorite on, or if we're going to have to use the teeny tiny ones. So here's our fluorites, and we'll just sit and test and see if we can get any on here. If we can't, well, we switch. Again, goes on the tip, but won't move any further than that. Because there's a teeny slight bend there, but if it's not going to go across that bend, it's not going to go across any of them. Oh, well, that one will go on. But it's only the one. So if we're going to only have one, we're going to put it towards the middle. So let's put the rest of our fluorites back in the bag because they're not going to work. And we're going to adjust this baby's plan so that we're going to use some teeny tinies. So what we'll do is we'll just put the fluorite in with the middle one, and then teeny tinies we'll add another one because we're going to have, come on babies, come out, one on either side, I think, of the pink and the fluorite. So let's get these going on back on here. So we want a teeny. See how much simpler that went on? So strange. And the pink. Now we're going to wrap it around till it's way over here. And of course it's going to try and go everywhere, but that's all right. In fact, if we wanted to, no running away. Since we're close to the end here, what I may just do is, oh, you came all the way down. You're a naughty baby. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to let these come over this way, and then we will start this going around so it stays put right there. I would take it all the way around, except for, remember, we got to get the other beads on, and they have to circle around the wire. So we want to I dropped it back off. The fluorite. The pink. And then another teeny for this one. I think I got more out than I actually needed, but that's all right. Okay, guys, around the circle. Looks like that fluorite's going to be a problem anyway. It doesn't want to go around the circle at all. See how it's stopped? So I guess we're going to take that fluorite off too. Which is a pity because I think I really wanted the fluorite in the pattern, but improvisation is sometimes what you got to do. So around the circle with you guys. Wow, it wasn't just the teeny. What one's going, I mean the fluorite. What's going on here? Those back off because it looks like maybe it was that teeny one that didn't want to go around. Very bizarre. So let's try again. We'll get a, come on. Wow, this teeny's being, is this the teeny that I just had? Stubborn thing. They're all behaving like that all of a sudden. There we go. Come on, baby. That's weird. This other little one that's on here wants to go wherever it feels like it, but this one is being, these are all being sort of stubborn. Huh. Strange. Well, let's see if we can get some more teenies to go around, because like I say, the other one's going around just fine. But these ones do not seem to want to go around the, now that one did. Perfect, no problem. Let's try and see if that was the teeny giving the problem instead of the fluorite. No, the fluorite's also giving a problem, so unfortunately. See if this teeny will behave better. Yep, all the way around. Come on, baby, all the way. And now you just stopped. Now the teenies are glass, so you want to be careful with them. Don't overly force them, so to speak. All right, where are they all at? Did I have one fall off? Well, it looks like he did fall off. He's over here. Well, let's get you back in place, darling. And then we still need keep going. You got to go all the way around to the other loop, because now, anyway, we need one more teeny that's not going to hang up. And it looks like that one's it. So these all can go be put away. Now I need to get all of my beads where I want them at, which sometimes when they decide they want to go swinging all over the place, it's easier said than done. Though, if we wanted, we could leave them down over here. They don't have to be on a specific spot, really. Not these, anyway. So over there with you. Where'd teeny tiny go? Off again. So funny, this one likes to go everywhere, and the other ones were picky about going on at all. Look you. Oh, that one wants to come off too. I would have swore it just fell right there, but it's not here. Weird. Huh. Well, we'll try one of these other ones, because maybe they'll decide to go down over there with that guy. And they didn't need to go very far anyway. Okay, so now we can we have to bunch our beads up however we want them bunched. But they really should come up to this other side here. So up you go. You right there. Where's the other little? There we go. It's under my thumb. No, it's not. Little silly thing. Up and over. You stay here. You go here. And then this guy goes on the other side, right like that. Okay, there we go. Now the hardest part is coming up right now, and that is holding your beads in place where you want them while you get everything situated here. So we're going to put these on the mandrel while we do this, and we're going to do that because we can get our wire here that's going to wrap around, and they're not where they're supposed to be anyway. They have to wrap this way some more because otherwise I don't have enough wire on this side. Come on, guys, up here. Okay, keep you over here. These teeny tinies, they didn't want to go on, and now they're going all over the place. Come on, you, get back up there. Now, if I can get this situated just right, it's in this middle one, it's going to be the rondelle, the other pink rondelle that's going to hold this guy in place. Same with this. And this one will twist around here, like so. Get up there, you. Oops, See that, what I'm doing right here? We don't want to do that. So make sure you've got this in place here. Come on, you stay in there. The wire is being uncooperative here. Well, actually it's the little beads as well as the wire. So we want the wire to, now we don't want it to come down like that though. So we need it to be up here. Dang it. Come on, little guys, get up there where you belong. This would have been much easier with the fluorite because they're a little bigger. So you get over there. There we go. You stay right here. Now you want to push this down a little bit because it has to hold that bead right there. But at the same time, you don't want it to go and leave where it's at. So hold it while you go under. Dang, that wire is trying to come over here again. I don't want it that far over. Okay. Now we need to do more or less the same on this side, though we need to push this back up into place because when we tighten it, it won't be able to go back into place. So there's, slide those down to there. Have these here, and then this one will be right here. Push you guys up where you belong because you're trying to come and visit again. Now this one wraps right here, and as you see, it's getting, the ring is getting much smaller as I'm pulling these wires, even though I didn't really want it to get that much smaller. But so this one goes right here. See how they're now curled around each other here? And see how much smaller this ring is because the wires wouldn't tightened up on me here. Okay, so now I didn't wrap this one twice, and I should have, so that it wouldn't be able to stretch out so much. But okay. And this one's able to move more than I want it to. So what I need to do is take this and it needs to be brought up tighter because these are supposed to be snugged against each other. So we need to get the little guy up here further. And it's going to be difficult because now there's a kink in the wire from where I bent it, and it doesn't want, the little one doesn't want to go up that way. So we want it up there though, because it needs to be tightly there. So we need to wrap tighter here. Are you going to stay put now? And now I broke it. I obviously got that just a wee bit too tight, and I broke the little one. Well, since I don't really want to put another one on there, we're going to finish breaking it off. Stubborn little thing. There we go. Now, it's just not going to have one right there. And that's not going to hurt it any. Actually might even help with the because these don't want to fall down anymore. So now we will get 2 or 3 wraps on either side here, which, like I said, is going to make it smaller yet. But like I say, if you're not making it for a specific size, if you're just putting it in to sell it, it's not that big of a deal. There's what size it wants to be. I just let it be whatever size it wants to be myself. But so there is our 3 wraps. There we go. And now we will finish this baby up. So to finish it, I am simply going to finish this second wrap on this side. Bring her up. And now you have a choice. Do you want to put spirals on it? We could put some spirals on it, but you want your spirals to be about the same size. Well, you could have them different sizes if you wanted to, but I like mine to be about the same size. So I'm going to cut a little of the extra wire off over here. That looks good. Then we're going to start our spiral by cracked beads here. Taking our round nose pliers, getting a very tiny little spot here, and start our spiral around. Is it going to be rounded? If it's not, I'm going to cut a little bit of the tip off. It's good enough. So now we'll take our flat nose and just wrap tight. Now we're going to bring this up. I'm actually going to unspiral it a little bit because I want it to go right here. So now we'll do the other side. And this one has gone more or less over our little teeny tiny, so if this goes the same way, then we'll just put it right here and it'll hide the fact that the other teeny tiny is gone. And so it won't be a problem at all. So now we do our little spiral. Up and right here. There we go. There's our third tiny little ring. Now this one turned into a size, it looks like it's about a 4 as well. So these rings obviously wanted to be little rings. And when I say little rings, I really mean little rings because it couldn't even go on my little finger. But you'd be surprised how many people have tiny rings wear tiny rings like that. I sell quite a few of these. And I'd go to the craft fairs. I never put them on my Etsy shop because it's just too much of a pain because they're tend to be tiny, and People need to try them on, because a homemade ring, even though you can size it as much as you want, it doesn't always stay the size. You know, it doesn't always, it's not. Now this one looks like to be exactly on the 8 bar, which is great, but that doesn't happen very often. These two little guys are going to be both be around 4s. It's actually a little bit less than a 4, so but it's bigger than a 3.5. And this one looks like it's going to be exactly on the 4. So these would both be called size 4s, but if you didn't try them on, this one might not fit you. So there is our 3 rings. Put these teeny tinies back in this bag so they don't get lost. There is our 3 rings with our 1 broken ring, broken bead. And, you know, like I say, it depends on your beads, how you have to fit them onto your wire. So just be aware of that. I think I may have cracked this iridescent one a little bit too. But considering the crack is down below, I'm not going to worry about it. And if you did crack something and you were afraid that it would roll up to the top where it could be seen easily, you could also take some E6000 and put in here, and it would hold it from rolling around. But I think it's fine. So there are our 3 rings. 1, 2, and 3. Now, as you can see, these two just have 2 wires at the base, and this one has a 3rd one. But, yeah, there we go. All 3 rings. 1, 2, and 3. Actually, I'll slide them onto the mandrel so you can see them a little better. So that one's going to go way down there. And these are almost the same size, these 2 smaller ones. This one's way over here. So there are our 3 rings. So those are our 3 rings made from our bargain bead box. Violet Glade. Are they pretty? Not sure which I like best. I think maybe the little pink one here, though this one did turn out pretty. So I hope you enjoyed making those with me. This has been Rose from In Rose's Garden, and we've been making 3 simple rings using our bargain bead box Violet Glade. 1, 2, 3. Aren't those pretty? We'll see you later. Bye-bye.